Welcome to another News Game Plus. I'm Dermie and I'm here with New Game Plus executive producer Jason O'Callaghan. I didn't have an intro, but I tell you what, I was going to introduce us as Eddie Maguire and Jimmy Bartell. Have you ever seen their podcast?
I have. I've watched clips of it. I get it served to me on Facebook.
It's our podcast.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I'm not gonna lie.
It's the same style, the same mannerisms.
I've
It's
never hated.
very similar.
I think for all the things that he's done wrong in his life, he copped flack for the wrong things. He copped flack for the
Eddie.
things that didn't matter. And I feel like
that's corporate shenanigans.
I agree. I feel like it was one of those things where they wanted to lessen his role in Channel 9 when Costello and stuff came in and whatever. I'm just imagining things. But I feel like the things they got him for were both just regular faux pas. I don't look at Eddie Maguire and instantly assume he's a racist, considering how many Indigenous players
He's not
Collingwood ran.
He doesn't seem like anyway. The podcast.
Moral story is I don't mind it. It's fine.
The podcast, I watch it, and I was going to say it is the same mannerisms and the same way of talking. The same. They even crap on about random topics.
Yeah.
The only difference is theirs is about footy, and it's actually lots of people listen to it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Look, I don't know. I like I don't mind it. But again, look, I'm that guy that. I don't even hate Kane Corns, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like
he's a shit stirrer.
Yeah, and that's fine because he just owns it. You know what I mean? Like him and Nathan Brown had that good dynamic, and now he's moving to Channel 7. I like how we're talking about sports when we're talking about video games.
Yeah.
But the worst thing about Footy Classified and all that, not Footy Classified, the other one, the one on Sunday, is Tony Jones. Tony Jones is he is a lizard in human form. Like he is a lizard wearing a human skin. Just listen to him when he talks. It's like he's trying to banter, but it's like, Tony, relax. Like
he's probably from the old days when you can just get away with stuff.
Yeah.
We should do games.
Yeah. Fix yourself up. No, you got to fucking do it properly. There you go.
I don't know. Yeah, cool. There we go. I'm just being assaulted here by a man with no pants.
Yeah, that's all right.
I have to do this podcast with next to a big hairy bloke with no pants on every week.
Game Plus initiation.
No goddamn pants. That's what NGP stands.
Yeah.
All right, now we've just we should do games.
Yeah.
So, right. Firstly, start with try to add some structure because that's Jamie's big complaint. What have you been playing?
So two things. I'm back on what's that thing? Helldivers. There's a new expansion, so all of the brain dead, absolute lowest common denominator. 85 IQ players are back.
I had a vision.
There was a little bit less. I'm trying to not use the word that's going to get me in trouble.
Yeah, don't.
Because they brought.
Hang on, where's the button?
Yeah,
I'm ready.
Yeah, they brought back the flamethrower mechanics, right? And the flamethrower mechanics are dreadful. They're too good. They've increased the way of fireworks so you can use it on big enemies. So everyone just packs fire because if I've got fire, then I can kill the big bad thing. But the problem is these people don't understand that you're playing a 4-person team game, so you don't do it because there might be someone in front of you, and then you get burnt. So they'll get 10 accidental kills. You've only got 20 respawns, but they'll get 10 accidental kills, and it's like if you don't understand how to play the video game, or to I will be the last person to pick my weapon. You started this. You asked what I was playing.
Oh, how long before?
I will be the last person to pick my weapons because I'll look at the team. The team will have.
Welcome to an hour, Jason, complaining about Helldivers players.
Let's say no one picks like a rocket launcher. Okay, I'll pick recoilless so I can kill the big things. Let's say someone does pick rocket launcher. I'll pick a machine gun because if we're playing against robots, I'll pick a sniper if no one's picked sniper. I will pick around the team, and I know what my other thing is going to be. So my support weapon is always going to be picked around the team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to win. When it's all said and done, I don't care what else happens. I don't care about my kill count. I just want to achieve the objectives and get the hell out. And that's why I like games like Dota and stuff like that. But yeah, these brain dead fucking human puddles, like genetic puddles that exist in this fucking game sometimes. The thing is, it's 1 in every 10 games now. Now that they're back, beforehand it was glorious. There was you had the people who actually cared about the game or were willing to try new weapons or strategies and work together. Now it's back to the 3 people who pick flamethrowers, and then you're like, oh my god, and there's like, oh, we couldn't kill the charger fast. I was like, you know, shit, because you've only got a flamethrower. It doesn't matter. Moral story is, Helldivers is game of the year, and it is. I love it. I keep playing it, don't I?
You hate yourself.
I hate these people. They just make it worse. So there's nothing quite like getting a good group. Yesterday I was playing, and I did 7 missions. So that's about what, 3 hours, 3.5 hours with the same group because we just gelled. It was like, yeah, cool. These guys know what they're doing. We all want to achieve the objective. We all want to find all the bits and pieces, get everything we can out of the map, and then get the fuck out. And we split up well. Like I've always got like a scout armor, so I just zip off, put random scout points so I can check if there's enemies for them or if they got patrols coming. All this, so we all just work in synergy together. But yeah, now that the fire flamethrower like Gronks are back, it's worse. Anyway, the other games I've been playing,
Welcome to the Helldivers Complaint
I
Podcast.
clocked Mafia 1 and 2 in the last week.
Yep.
Mafia 1, I mean, they're both games that are fine. They're just games that like they didn't need to be open world. The fact that they're open world is bizarre to me because they just don't. I guess it makes sense because the missions still take place inside the open world, and you can just ignore whatever. But because they had these such heavy story beats, and they didn't manage to integrate them into the open world as well as a Rockstar or something like that. And yeah, I'm comparing them to the best, right? I'm comparing 2K Check to the best ones at doing open world games, like the people who made Red Dead Redemption, right? It's impossible. Red Dead Redemption 2. It's impossible to compare. Yeah, you're comparing them to the best, and so they were still good games. One doesn't hold up from a technical point of view. Two has some annoying things about it, like you just have no health even on medium, and yeah, just weird stuff. But they were worth playing. They were good story driven games. They weren't particularly deep. They weren't particularly technically impressive, but I enjoyed them. Again, I think since started July, since I got back from it wasn't even when I got back from Japan. Started July, I've clocked 8 games now, and then after this podcast, I'm going to start Warhammer. So yeah. Anyway,
I'm going to save this as a Jason's rant section for the end of the podcast next time. Old man rages at games. So, being a keen Deus Ex fan, I got to say right now, the opportunity to send somebody an exploding pager needs to be.
Look,
we should make light of it because that actually has ramifications that everybody's wildly glossing over.
Look, it is one of those things, right? Like, next time you buy an iPhone, just see if someone can take it apart and make sure there's not, 20 grams of Semtex in there.
There's parts of the world that are never going to buy a US allied made electronic product ever again.
Yeah.
In fact, I saw a rumor that, I don't know if it's true or not, that Chinese people were saying they're being called into factories to do overtime, extra hours, to make mobile devices. So,
and to think Samsung was giving them that technology for free 10 years ago.
Well, I mean, at the moment they reckon that China's ramping up their production of mobile phones and that. So there's obviously some parts of the world now have decided that they're ditching.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I shouldn't make a lot of it. It has big ramifications. That's another story. That's not gaming. Are we doing a gaming podcast? Or
I talked about video games for a little bit, and then you got angry.
I'm going to say me. I'm going to save that for the last end of the podcast next time. Let's do some gaming stuff. Palworld now.
Oh yes,
Palworld.
It's been a long time coming. This is
finally being sued by Nintendo.
They finally obviously hit the money threshold they need to make it worth their time, right? Because they're not going to sue them for 10 million. They're going to sue them for 1 billion. They're going to sue them for 350 million. They're going to sue them to put them out of business, right? There's no way Nintendo comes in unless they know they can bankrupt. It's like when they went after Mario Kart, right? And then they went back after Mario Kart. Mario Kart was like, okay, we can live with these restrictions, blah, blah, blah. And then they went back and said, no, we want another like $150,000.
You're not getting more relaxed as a podcast goes.
No, but it's fine. People are used to me. It's fine. But like Nintendo won't mess around until it's worth their time. And at this point, Palworld is worth their time.
There is one thing about Palworld, and one of the other things I was going to put is the Palworld dev said it's never going to go free to play. It's never going to go live service. Remember I talked about in one of the recent podcasts about Concord and how the way to solve those problems is to release the server.
Yeah.
You can actually get Palworld servers to set up. You set them up in a Docker container, or even on a NAS, even on if you got a Synology or something.
Yeah, you can do it at home. Yeah.
Which means if Nintendo does shut them down, they're kind of the servers are still out there.
Yeah.
So
buy now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the servers. There's things like a lot of those Minecraft online managers. I think MCS, not Monitor Manager, MCS Manager. I'm running that on the Minecraft servers I set up for my kids. That actually has the option to install a Palworld server.
Yeah,
for your
cool.
So
even you can honestly run an X. If I'm turning my Xbox on, we're playing Palworld together. I can run a world on my Xbox. My Xbox is the
Well, you
server.
can run a world on your NAS.
Yeah.
So,
So
and that really opens it up. So Palworld, Nintendo can sue their brains
for
out.
those who don't know, Palworld is a game that's a monster collector. You collect all these different monsters, and unlike Pokemon, where all you do is either keep them in your pocket, abused in a container, or fight them. In this one, you can actually go a step up and have them mine for you. You can have them create like various products for you. You can have them fight with you with guns, like you can get gun diagrams. So imagine Pikachu with an AK kind of thing. Yeah, and so it just had all those kind of survival game mechanics mixed with a competent monster gatherer. Yeah,
The only problem is the monsters all look suspiciously similar to something you might have seen
so
elsewhere.
that's going to be their argument, and I don't know if they. My only reason I think they win this one is because it's Japan, and Japan knows where its bread buttered, and for them to crush a little company over the shave of a big one, I could see happening.
Well,
And that's not to say that doesn't happen in the West, because obviously it happens in the West, but. Japan has a libertarian streak. I mean, you ask anyone about the death of Shinzo Abe, and it's not like it's. I mean, if George W. Bush died, there'd be like a universal outpouring of grief for how sad it is that he was assassinated.
not where I am.
No, not for our generation, but I
Yeah.
think everyone else would be, right?
Yeah, all the
Americans,
weirdos.
yeah,
He
right.
was on Ellen. He looked
Yeah,
really
yeah,
nice. Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
And but like in Japan, there was some who agreed with him dying, and there was other things. And then the prime minister that was nearly assassinated before him was his grandfather. So like, the Japanese have that streak in them of, oh yeah, it makes sense.
Well,
You know what I mean?
they did terrorize half the world for a little while.
Well,
Little
look,
country.
I mean,
Yeah.
but you got to remember, like you want to talk of a for a lovely peaceful place now. You want to talk of a place that was certainly built on blood. Like there was so much,
It's a
like
lovely place now.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you go back in the different eras, and it was just different regions, kind of taking
Yeah.
each other over and stuff. Anyway, moral story is, I see. I don't know if it succeeds. I'm actually 50-50 on it. But I can definitely see them just steamrolling it because Nintendo's contribution to the local economy versus, do we crush the little guy for? I mean, like, yeah, you could argue the character designs are similar. Then their argument would be, yeah,
Wait, is the Palworld developer? They're not a Japanese dev though.
yeah, they are
They are.
absolutely.
I was going
Yeah.
to say if they were a US dev, they might get squashed. But I'd argue that if you're like Nintendo or actually it's not Nintendo, it's a Pokemon company,
Yeah.
really, isn't it? But
So they own a third of the Pokemon company. Game Freak is part Pokemon company, part
they have like 500 different Pokemon.
1,200.
Well, I
something like
remember
that.
being at the store and there was an awful lot, right?
Yeah.
So, but the thing is,
And keep in mind that's just the Pokemon one,
if
the
you're
popular
gonna
one.
if you're gonna make a whole heap of
1,025. There you go.
well, I'm only off by a little bit,
500, yeah.
yeah,
Literally less than half. That's okay.
Anyway, so but you've got all these different Pokemon, and they're all just random shapes, so different types of animals. You're gonna cover a lot of options for everybody else to make up an imaginary animal.
Exactly right. And, yeah.
I'm going to make one that looks like a snake, and and Nintendo go, well,
that's
we already have one
Ekans.
looks
That's
like
Arbok.
yeah, I'm going to make one that looks like a big round thing with a giant mouth. Well, we already have one of them. It's like no, you've kind of got almost every shape covered. It's like claiming ownership over squares and triangles.
Yeah, well,
at some point.
That was Yokai Watch. That was why Yokai Watch went so under the radar because, and even
I remember you loved that game,
and I still do. It's a great series, but we're never getting 4 in English, which makes me sad. You even Monster Rancher, because their designs were so unique, they looked like monsters. They didn't look like very little fuzzy animals. Like the main one in Monster Rancher.
Trying to Google one up.
Forget his name. What's the
doesn't work
yellow
audio podcast.
Yeah, I know, but that's why every time I look up something
up,
I describe it. So that was the main one from
bring Monster Rancher up, Jamie.
Yeah. So he's got like the big
James
yellow eye guy.
oh,
I forget his name. Anyway,
Jamie.
and is Monster Rancher older than Pokemon? Released a year before Pokemon. There you go. That's why they get away.
I don't click on the Google AI things.
Yeah. Oh yeah, forgot about that.
I'm going to get to AI later.
But moral story is I think a lot of the competition because Digimon it was different enough, and they only had say 15 of them, right? So it's like it was different enough, and then I don't know. I feel like it's a bit cynical if they win. If they win against Palworld, I don't know. I think it's just a little bit cynical. I don't think there's enough similarities to really go in on it.
If the test is that reasonable test is in court, I don't know if they do it in Japan, but here like if a reasonable person thought that, right? I'd say they're in trouble because a reasonable person, they're just
They're
somebody
reading it, yeah.
not really a gamer, and that
And
would
that's
look at it and go, they look like the same thing. So
yeah,
I
and
think they might have a problem.
that is correct, and that's my concern
Grab
with
your
it as
copy
well.
now. Grab
Yeah.
your Palworld server. Set up a Palworld server for you and your mates. You'll be able to play it forever.
Yeah, and it's
Don't
it's
stress.
the kind of game that there will be a community that will run it in the
Oh
background.
yeah,
You know
they'll
what I
keep
mean?
it going. And
Yeah.
and look, the servers are out there. And there's this thing: if you're a dev, and publishers won't like it, but I said on the podcast a while ago, if you're a dev, get your server out in the wild. Your game will last forever.
Yeah.
It'll ebb and flow like Minecraft does. Minecraft goes up and down. I know my son and his friends. I'll play Minecraft. I'll play it mad for 2 weeks, and then I'll lose interest for 3 months, and then I'll set up another server. Right?
Yeah.
And that's what you do. Now, if you've got a game, now Palworld's going to be hard because you won't be able to buy it. But if you had a game that was still downloadable, and even if you got
Well, I mean, I mean, the thing they would do if they knew they were going to lose, they just either put it on Steam or put it on Good Old Games for $1.
pretend somebody hacked you and just
Exactly, and put up a non-DRM
big
version,
FU.
correct, and you just do it. Oh, it's out in the wild now.
I know some Russians hacked me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. You just send a Russian guy. It's like,
Just,
we'll take you 50 grand to hack our server.
Note to anybody that I would do that.
Yeah.
Well, see, if you're a game dev, you want your game to be played. And this is the publishers are the assholes. The game devs just want to make something everyone loves. I can say that as a programmer, not a game dev, but game devs just want to make something that gets used.
Yeah, it's an artistic medium like any other.
Talk of making games that people love. Horizon Zero Dawn is being remastered for the PS5. Tell me, I don't have a PS5, and are there any games like actually made since the PS4? or have has Sony and all their developers decided that's it? All the games they can ever make have already been made.
The Helldivers is a PS5 game.
They're looking at Todd Howard going, man, that guy's a genius. Just selling Skyrim forever. He put some spaceships in it, and people still bought it.
Yeah. Look, I don't know. It's a good question. Hey,
Okay, other than Helldivers, which wasn't a Sony thing. That's Helldivers one isn't. They just went up. And that looks good. We'll grab it.
They're a second party developer.
Oh, okay, but
Yeah.
there's not a lot of actual Sony.
Astro's Playground is this.
I was raving about that. Yeah, little platformer that does look cute, but anyway,
I think it goes for like 4 hours, and it's just a thing. I mean, it's like it's like.
There's not a lot of they're realistic.
Yeah, literally for the first thread on Reddit, where are all of Sony's games this generation? Naughty Dog 0, Sucker Punch 0, Santa Monica 1. Oh, Ragnarok, but I guess that was PS4 as well still.
Yeah, no, that's it. Look, Microsoft. Let's I was going to say Microsoft got their problems as well. Let's go on to the next one, which is Xbox has laid off another 650 staff. I think we touched on this last time because of the crossover in the date. Mostly management. No studios have been laid off, but it is another 600 people. 600 people. 650 more people laid off. So you got to pay for that. Billions of dollars you spend on Activision, plus all an AI.
Yeah.
I'll go to one AI thing.
Well, I mean that's the funny thing with Palworld, right? Is if you make a game that's somewhat similar to Nintendo, they sue you. But AI is literally stripping Pokemon designs. It's crazy.
AI is a transfer of ownership on a scale we've never seen before. It's theft. Now, actually, while I'm on Microsoft, I'm going to go AI later about another company, but on Microsoft. There was a tweet I saw. Microsoft could pay 10,000 artists $100,000 per year for a decade for the amount of money they've invested in AI. And I looked at it originally and went, nah, that sounds dumb.
Yeah.
That sounds right. Anyway, so I had a little bit of a look into it. $13 billion. $13 billion is what they spent on AI. So nowhere near as much as they spent on Activision.
No.
But remember I talked about the scale of these numbers, what they mean. $13 billion they've invested in AI so far. If you divide that by 10,000 artists, that's 1.3 million per artist.
Yeah.
You divide that again by 10 years, obviously that's a real easy number. $130,000 per year. Okay, it's not 100,000 like the tweet said, but that's $130,000 per year, which is an average programmer's salary, not just an artist. For what they put in AI so far, they could just pay people, and they're so desperate not to. They just really don't want to pay people, and they will spend so much money to avoid paying. What the anyway?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And then they lay off 650 staff, and it's fine. It's only managers, and my love of managers. I'm never going to shed a tear for them. But
middle management being your favorite role in
anything. Was it $13 billion on AI? Yeah, just anyway, it's ridiculous those numbers. Steam families. There's a happy story.
So,
Steam family is the greatest thing
you've
ever.
always been able to share your Steam account with like 5 people,
Yeah,
right?
but you can't play it at the same time.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's the difference. So I think the difference now with Steam Family is you can, can't you? Like that's the whole.
Yeah, you can have 5 family members,
Yeah.
and it's guaranteed there. They're just gonna
Guaranteed
be
it's made.
friends,
Yeah.
So anyway, so basically, you can play any game in your families. Family should appear in quotes. Even Valve should just put family in quotes because they know it's going to happen.
Oh, they're a non-nuclear family-based organization. Gaben's dating a woman like 30 years younger than him. Good on him. So
Is
yeah.
he? Well, I tell you
Have
what,
you seen him lately? He's been on
uh,
the Ozempic. Holy shit.
he's done the Nikado avocado, has he?
Yeah, he's bait and switched us all. That was why he went to. That was why he went.
Two steps. Yeah, I want to see Gabe come in and go, I'm 2 steps ahead. So no, so yeah, you can have 5 family members on your account, so 5 mates.
There you go. That's him now.
Wow,
Yeah. So compared to the two, yeah.
wow, he has.
Very true, yeah.
Yeah, Peter Jackson did the same thing after Lord of the
He
Rings.
did. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, five friends, family friends. You can play any game in your family friends library.
And
but you can't play the same one at the same time.
Yes.
So you can't just share it and go, all right, 5 mates are playing Helldivers with me.
Yeah.
No, sorry, that won't happen. You'll have to have a copy.
But whereas previously, let's say you were able to use my account when I wasn't using it. You could just log in and go, cool, I'm playing your games. But then when I came in, you got kind of popped, right?
Yeah.
So Sony and Microsoft will let you get away with one. So Sony, you can actually have 2 units playing at the same time, but same thing, you can't play the same game.
It's like the Switch where you got one master, one slave.
Correct,
Okay,
right?
yeah,
So you just play your master offline, right? But no, but with Sony's one, you can play. You just can't play the same game, like you say. Like if I want to play God of War, I have to.
But that's
play.
only 2. But that's good if you only got one friend.
Well, most Sony players only have one.
I mean, that's a lot on it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so
and so, but PC, like it's interesting that you, like you say, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, my library's open, and they would be able to see what you're playing anyway, so they're not going to
there's no play.
Yeah,
And as you play Helldivers, you go,
yeah.
But mind you, most Steam libraries have got like 500 games in them. So you're going to correct me and go, no, it's 1,000.
Mine's pretty small actually. My Steam library's tiny. My Xbox library's in the multiple hundreds. But my
like
main
460 something. I think
my main gaming platform is Xbox. Yeah.
Do you remember they used to have publisher sales?
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to buy a bunch of them.
Yeah.
So I got tons. Anyway, so Steam families in quotes, even they should do. And it's more sign that when Gabe goes, you can't tell me the hedge funds that aren't looking at that going, we can come in and instantly just scrap that,
capitalize this real quick,
and everybody has to buy 5 copies.
Well, I think I'm no doubt Gabe's got a thing in there that basically it can't be made public. You can't buy shares in Valve.
He's going to go to court. It's going to get messy, and a lot of money's going to get thrown around.
Yeah.
Now another one. This is down your alley. Twitch VTubers have been banned.
Really?
Yeah. Oh no, not all of them. Bunch of them. Now I don't know. I don't know anything about Twitch VTuber. I accept that they're anime girls.
Yeah.
So which comes along with all the
motion.
stuff.
It's a motion capture software that captures a face and tracks their movement and stuff.
AI.
It's like funny watching them sneeze and stuff because you see like the little characters start to squint and then like their mouth can't open as wide as someone sneezing and stuff. So you just see them like.
Well, a lot of them have complained on Twitter, and they said that Twitch is being inconsistent. They're playing double standards, usual Twitch stuff.
Yeah.
So it's
and the worst thing is still better than Kick, still probably better than YouTube. You know what I mean? Like,
mind you, YouTube. I think the biggest VTuber company has a deal with YouTube.
Yeah, they do. Whole Live.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so I knew you'd know that. You're pretending you don't.
Oh, it's all work, mate.
It's all work. I don't watch that. So, all right, that's another one. Since you ranted a bit of Helldivers for the first hour. Oh, let's see where we go. Flappy Bird's back.
Really?
Or is it? Dun, dun, dun.
Right, so... Because old mate, the Vietnamese dude, made his couple of million, went off into the sunset.
He did actually. He retired on a high. He didn't even molest any underage children. So, well done.
Would, yeah.
Well, it's
we didn't find out about Savile until 30 years later. So
yeah. Well, it's no. So he actually did well. He did a mat pad. He just got out on the top, and with no weird shit. And look at Mr. Beast now with a collaboration with fucking Logan Paul of all people. Yeah, these people are scumbags.
Lunchables. They're trying to feed your kids.
Yeah, well, Mr.
I'm sure that'll be nutritious.
Mr. Beast might have been entirely image, but anyway, that's another story. So Flappy Bird is back. So basically, what happened? The guy that originally did it, he let everything expire, the trademarks and everything.
Yeah.
So somebody came along and they made an NFT infested, crypto infested Flappy Bird game.
Of course they did.
And actually, I got to say, they went to a bit of trouble. Have a bit of a look at it, right? They actually went to at least some trouble making. There's Flappy
Yeah.
Bird clones still around, but at least they've got different worlds. They've got different birds you can have and stuff. They actually went to a bit of effort.
So
So I'll
they
give
made a
that
proper
credit.
game, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's a crypto and NFT infested thing.
So you're gonna make money on it, bro. That's how it works.
But yeah, well, it's so it's not. So if you see Flappy Bird, stay away. It's not actually Flappy Bird. It's not by the original maker. He has come out and he said he even hates crypto. Yeah, we would have nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
He just let everything expire. They picked up the Twitter account and everything. And
Yeah, wow.
so yeah, so there you go. So if you see Flappy Bird, it's not back. It's a scam. Let's see what else really. Oh, okay. I've got some AI ones. How much time we got?
Yeah, we got 20 minutes. You good?
A lot of notes. First one. Have you seen the AI generated Doom?
No.
Okay, what they've done, and it's Doom, and Google have done it, and they're very excited as they do when the tech bros see AI, they get very excited, right? They've made like an AI engine that generates frame by frame the Doom level as you're playing it, so you can play Doom, but it's effectively making JPEGs in the background of each time you move.
Yeah.
Monsters pop up in front of you, and that now it's going to get better, and it does look like Doom. And it does move and play like, mind you, Doom nowadays, it's like a 40-year-old game, or a 30-year-old game.
Run it on a picture frame, like
Yeah, I've seen people running him on a pregnancy test.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck's in a pregnancy test, but don't answer it if it rings. But
Yeah.
but you got no, the Doom. They're making this AI Doom now. They're very very excited about it. But the amount of energy required just to run the AI Doom for the calculations, you might as well just write the game, guys.
Yeah.
Just write the game. Just work out how to code. You know what we're going to be saying? We're going to be saying after this AI stuff collapses, we're going to be saying in a couple of years, learn to code. You're going to have a whole generation that's just been locked out, and then suddenly they're going to go, now it works. So, but yeah, so AI Doom. Google very excited. They released like a little pseudo-scientific paper about how they did it and everything. Basically, it's just making JPEGs. It plays like 20 frames a second. Again, just write it.
Yeah.
That's right. I mean, Carmack and that wrote it. What 90s, 90 something?
Yeah, it was Carmack Romero, a few of the other old gods of
Mostly Carmack.
Probably.
Yeah, although I don't.
Carmack's one of those things, right? Like, I mean, any game that
I don't like him that much because he said it couldn't work on an Amiga at the time, and Doom killed the Amiga. That's the real reason. Commodore was ableist, but Doom killed. And I don't like him. And as I said, if I can play Doom on a fucking pregnancy test,
my Amiga's better than a pregnancy test.
It's the other end of the equation as far as I'm concerned. But it's
yeah, don't need much need for them when you got an Amiga in 1987.
Yeah, they're happy days.
Yeah.
But the
I was 2 years old, by the way, but that's okay.
And you're the one who gets the podcast and yells at cloud. Okay, so anyway, check out the AI generated Doom thing. It's pretty shit. It'll get better. They've got other devs are doing stuff like make me a cyberpunk city, and they've got demos walking through it, right? So you got to. It's clearly just trained on Cyberpunk 2077, and it's less useful than the original Cyberpunk 2077 release on an old console, but it's But yeah, they all the whole devs are very excited about, which moves me on to let's use this as a segue. Did you see EA's presentation they did to investors recently?
No.
Well, they basically did a like what are we up to sort of thing for investors, and there's 3 hours of AI. So let's get into what they actually said they're doing with AI, and this is going to give you an idea of what everybody is. Because if EA is doing, you can guarantee all the other ones are going to be. Because I know from the corporate work I did. I mean, every company's looking at every other company, and they're all shit scared of doing something different, so they copy each other because that's how you succeed in the business world. If you take a risk, you get sacked, and so everybody that gets
especially nowadays. Risk. And don't get me wrong, like we talk about the innovation under capitalism. We always end up with now all our phones are black monoliths and stuff like that, right?
Exploding black.
Yeah, depends. Yeah, but it's not like it's some new phenomenon. But at the same time, like it really is pathetic nowadays because you're not incentivized to chase a new idea that may revolutionize.
I don't know if it's worse because I mean I'll go tangent now.
Yeah.
We're almost 30 minutes, but. I watched a retrospective the other night on Battlestar Galactica, the original one, right?
So the story of Zion,
before you were born.
But it was an allegory for the return of Zion, the return of
the Mormons.
Was it the Mormons?
Yeah,
Or
it's
was it
Mormons.
Jews? Oh, maybe. Yeah, yeah.
Mormons.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, now I think
Battlestar
about it.
Galactica was Mormon. But the thing was, they originally did the show. I'll go some with this story, right?
Yeah.
They originally did the show. They planned.
You better, otherwise our phones will blow up.
Okay. You reckon? I tell you, yeah, every
And
single person,
especially your weird one. Yeah, yeah.
every single person. Oh, mine probably wouldn't do that, but it's solid. It wouldn't, the explosion wouldn't get out. You can't tell me that Putin and all his friends aren't going through their phones right now.
Yeah. In
Is
the box. In
is
the box.
anything in here that shouldn't be here?
Yeah.
So they've shot their load early if they were going to use that. But anyway, look, where was I going with this? Okay, Battlestar Galactica retrospective, right?
Yeah.
So 1978, they originally planned it. The studio said, Star Wars is big, we need something. Okay, they copied, right? And so I think it was Glenn Larson had it, and he had it for about 10 years, this story that he wanted to do. And so he had this plan of doing a grand 6 movies
Yes.
on TV,
Yeah.
massive production, and he actually did a fair bit of it.
Yeah.
And then, but what happened is the studio kept coming in and saying, "Oh, look, it's science fiction. Kids love that. So add a stupid ass robot dog,"
Yeah.
which was actually that was a monkey, by the way, in a dog suit. So and then they came in and said, "Oh, look, this is making everyone, all the advertisers and all the viewers love it." So we decided it's not 6 movies now. We decided we want to make it a full season of episodes, right? And it got to the point where the studio kept coming in asking for stuff, and it was all dumb. And so they ended up they were writing the scripts and then handing it to the actors like as they're shooting the scenes. And so I remember looking at it, and you can see some episodes in the original series got really dumb, and some were really good, and that's why. And then they cut costs. They started to cut costs as the viewers dropped off because the viewers went, "Well, this is bullshit now." And then they eventually cancelled it. Anyway, my point is, corporate fuckheads have always ruined things. And if we get
talentless dickheads whose only ability is to be sociopath,
and if we've had any through our entire life, and we think it happened now because we notice in gaming, if we've had anything in our entire life, like a Halo or something like that, or
Star Trek: The Next Generation had this very
Next Generation, we've had it almost by accident, because the studios haven't looked at it, and you see what's happening now with Microsoft, right? Since they invested a lot of money. So anyway, that's what I was going. It's not necessarily a new thing, but it is new for the areas we really immerse ourselves in, because gaming got to a point where all the investor class that noticed it.
Well, you're a Firefly kid.
One season. How the hell did
not even half a season?
Kardashians got 20 seasons of that bullshit, and that's always been the big complaint from Firefly people. But then they played them out of order anyway.
Yeah.
So and in Battlestar Galactica, the original one, they moved around anyway. My point is that it's always been corporate dickheads that have screwed up things that people like us really enjoy.
Yeah, you wonder if it's a producer situation where they get more money from a flop. You know what I mean? Sometimes,
Well, yeah, I think I was thinking about Concord, and I thought maybe Concord was actually like for the last 12 or 24 months, they actually completely planned it as a tax write-off.
Yeah.
I do wonder that.
Now they're in America, I have less trust that that's because you couldn't quite get away with that in Japan. Do you know what I mean?
They just too willingly. Well, Sony's based out of California now, isn't it? Yeah. So they too willingly dropped it. Anyway, where was I going? EA did an AI presentation. So they said, I've got some quotes here. EA said AI is, quote, at the very core of their business now. That should worry a few people. But I'm going to go through why some are good and some are bad. They said AI is not merely a buzzword. It's for more brilliant worlds and efficiency. They said it's and EA is training their AI on what they called the Smithsonian of game assets that they have. So I thought, well, put your pants back on, guys, and keep going presentation at that point. Now, they gave some examples, and some of the examples are kind of lame.
I met him before he became who he is.
Who's him?
I met Andrew, the CEO of EA. The Australian guy. He's a Sydney bloke.
Is he? Oh, he's from Sydney.
I met him in Sydney.
Sydney's not Australia.
I would say Sydney's more Australian than Melbourne. I'll have this conversation with you later. I'll explain it later. I'll explain my reasoning later.
Okay, Sydney.
It's shit. It's worse than Melbourne.
Sydney made Coal Sandylands famous, and Melbourne
that's true.
Off.
But
forever, Melbourne is a better city.
Yeah. That's true.
But Sydney thinks they're better than everybody because they've got this sort of like Hunger Games capital mindset of everything.
Okay, I'll cut in super quick. One of my jobs, I work with a lot of people from overseas, and they're on like tourist visas, holiday visas, that kind of stuff, right? And they all go, "Oh, we've done X-Men in Sydney, we've done X-Men in Brisbane." I said, "Cool. So you've done Australia. Now welcome to Melbourne. Like Melbourne is unto itself."
Well, they think it's Sydney and kangaroos in the desert.
Right, and I said, "So you've met what Australia was 20 years ago, right? Like the shit parts of Australia 20 years ago. Welcome to modern Australia, which is now. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So I don't know. I love Melbourne. Melbourne's great. I think if I wasn't living here, I'd already live overseas in Tokyo. But Melbourne's a very different beast to Sydney or Brisbane.
I can't stand Sydney. So there goes some more dislikes after I said
Yeah,
badass Americans last week.
yeah,
We
yeah.
got dislikes.
Good dislikes.
So I can expect some Sydney like, nah, I'm out of here. Or you said something bad
Paris,
about
yeah,
my
yeah.
city. Anyway, so EA used some examples of how they're using AI. And some of these examples I thought were interesting. This one's lame. They said in Sims, their example was a supercharged discovery tool to quickly find content. And some of the examples they used, you get a photo of a house
Uh-huh.
and you add it to their little AI tool, and it shows you the sim version of a very similar house. So
God,
that's great.
that's like the what was that stupid thing everyone was doing on Facebook where it was like a version of your face and then it was like
Okay. So you can also do it with the characters.
yes, there you
I thought,
go.
this is going to be
Yeah, there
there's
we
some
go.
stalker action.
Microsoft's been doing this for fucking years.
Yeah,
Right?
but there's going to be some interesting stalker action going on there. But it's an interesting concept. I didn't think it was mind blowing or anything. But
Well, I wonder
get over
when
that.
you start getting into that, where it's like, here's the representation I'm using, here's the representation of it in the game. At what point can you make them do things that would be uncomfortable for them and it would constitute a slur against them? Like, at what point are we drawing that line now? Do you know what I mean? Like that in and of itself is an interesting philosophical conversation.
Well, if you can argue AI did it, because they keep saying with AI, they go, we don't even know how it works, which is bullshit. That's just
Yeah,
their disclaimer,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
But if they go, yeah, AI did it, then well, it wasn't them.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and no government's got any idea how to regulate any of this stuff because
yeah.
they're just morons. But anyway, so what's the other one? I can't read this. They did a demo of creating characters, and direct performances and define worlds just by putting in text. Now, I don't know, you're probably a bit young for this, but years and years ago there was a product called Dragon Naturally Speaking for PC.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So our friends who do who used to do all our Capcom and Konami contact, they were also the local people for Dragon speaking software.
Okay. Well, I was always
It was
always
Siri
surprised.
before Siri, or
Yeah.
Google Translate before. Yeah,
Surprised it didn't catch on more because every manager I knew loved just spouting off and
they
going,
always,
computer, just make me this. Like they living in Star Trek, even though they hated that shit.
yeah, yeah,
That's a fucking nerds, but I want to do the talky thing, right?
yeah, yeah.
So anyway, so they did a
Yeah,
demo of,
dictated but not read.
yeah, well, they did
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
But so basically the demo was build me a Parisian style residential building. And it would basically just put it, and they can make changes to it. And AI typically making changes is very difficult, but
Yeah.
that's what they were doing. And their argument is, well, this will make game developers be able to just make things really quick, so you can just make an entire level. They
Yeah,
didn't
so
actually demo
you
that
can,
yet, but
you don't even have to go to the focus testing. You can literally just aggregate art from this point on.
just get a room full of fat ass
Yeah, yeah.
Americans and just have them just say, "Oh, I like explosions." So
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah. So you're just skipping the monkeys on the typewriters. You're just doing
Yeah.
digital monkeys. Yeah.
And it says, they said EA developers they said could, not can, could eventually make an entire scene for a game. And it did strike me as like the old, I mentioned Dragon Natural Speaking, is the old a manager just bellowing orders.
Yeah,
Make
yeah.
me a level that does this. And I thought, what sort of just rock hard dick fantasy is this
Yes,
for a
yeah.
manager? Make me a level that does this. I can imagine my industry, it never happened, but I can imagine people going, just make me this, sort of thing. And it just appears
Yeah,
and they go, wow, this is the future. And this is what EA were kind of selling. I'll get to some good ones in a moment, but so basically it sounds like they're going to use it for a lot of level generation.
Yeah.
Now
yeah.
that's an interesting one because you'll know because you
Yeah.
level design is a really underrated
Yes.
part of a
Very
game.
much.
Really,
Very much.
there's some levels in say Deus Ex Human Revolution that were just a joy to play because they had the right
And
places for cover, the right.
but and I would argue that's exactly it. So with Deus Ex, you knew it was a game and you knew that it was a game level, but in that conversation, in and of itself, it was a well done game level. Do you know what I mean? Like Deus Ex, it's like okay, there's going to be another route. There's going to be a route that I can sneak into. There's going to be a route that I can.
Yeah,
hack
yeah,
into,
it was
there's
just
gonna be a
well
route that I can
designed.
convert. Yeah,
Yeah, the level
so it's like,
designer
yeah,
was on the
exactly.
ball for that
Yeah.
one. And other games are like that. Now, I'm sure people who play Team Fortress that are going to have their examples
Yeah.
as well.
Well, I mean, even Dota, there's always changes to the
They're
maps
one
and
level.
shooters. Anyway,
One.
These are the kind
It's
of
got
smooth
one
brains. These are
level.
the smooth brains I deal with. Anyway,
It's
but
one.
like,
It's one. There's only one.
but even for stuff like Deadlock,
Command and Conquer at least has like 50 levels.
so even stuff like Deadlock, right, where you've got the 4 lanes similar to a MOBA, but it's still got pathways and those heat points and all that kind of stuff, like points where you're likely to fight and try and draw enemies to and all that kind of thing. So, in and of itself, that is a lot of the battle won.
Well, I'd say based on that, I'd say EA and other devs are going to be using AI to design their levels.
Yeah.
Now, I actually think there's an area where that could be good, and that's something like a Enter the Gungeon style game
Yeah,
where it
like
makes the levels random every play.
Yeah, so you've already got roguelike for that already, but roguelike just randomly swaps in different assets and makes sure they match. If
Yeah,
X and Y,
like
if
Minecraft
P then
building a
Q.
village or
If
a,
X
or
and
a
Y, then P then
fortress
Q.
underground
Yeah,
sort of thing.
exactly.
Just
Yeah.
this block, this block. But then if you got here where you can just build a village, a city,
Yeah.
sort of, that could be interesting. So I can
My
see.
only thing is, and I'm all for the idea of less jobs for jobs' sake, but at the same time, if the answer is well, then those people just won't eat, then I'm against it. But like a lot of artists get their start doing level art. They get their start
Yeah,
rendering bins and rendering levels and rendering grass
but I'm trying to do
textures
a
and all.
big positive spin on
I
some of this.
understand, but like, yeah, so I understand where you're coming from. I think for a lot of smaller studios, that can be a valuable tool. If Epic had said that they had this, I'd be a little bit more inclined to go, that's interesting. You know what I mean?
They would, everyone would.
Yeah.
Everyone would. EA is doing the. This is just an EA presentation.
Yeah.
I guarantee that. The other now, here's where it's going to get very interesting because they also talked in another part of the presentation about tactical AI in sports games
Right.
based on how human players been playing,
Yeah.
trained on that. Now I don't know how they're going to do it. I did sort of wonder about this when AI started to be mentioned.
That Driver been around in Forza Horizon for 15 years.
A soccer game is a bit more complicated. Tactics.
Yes. Yeah. Just gotta know when to cry, know when to run. Yeah.
Look, I remember Virtua Fighter used to have You used to
Yeah.
learn off your moves, right? To defend, to fight you.
So how fighting games cheat is they read your moves. So you push the
Yeah.
input, and if like they'll know what input's coming, and if they can block it, they will. So that
Well,
that's
They would
where.
call that AI now because everything that's an if statement's AI.
So that's the thing with difficulties in fighting games, right? If you're playing like arcade mode or whatever, and you hit a certain difficulty, eventually it's just reading your inputs. That's how it's beating you. So you have to go fresh palette every time, and you have to do optimal strings and all that kind of stuff, and it just feels like you're playing against a computer. Whereas there's a certain point where it's being adaptive, but it's not reading your inputs, and that's where you got to find.
Well, here's something EA won't do because they've said that nobody likes single player games. But I saw that and I thought, you know what? I really reckon that it has potential if they ever go back to single player games. Whereas if you are in a shooter or a sports game, and if your opponent has actual AI, and yeah, I know it's always had some AI, but if it's got trained AI on what all other players have been doing, say you're playing like a Call of Duty, right?
Yeah.
And it's single player, and the enemies are doing what humans would do. I mean, because that was always the thing where when people started playing multiplayer, it was because you had different. Yeah, you could beat the computer easy. In most games, most people can.
So that was
Other people are hard.
That was what Halo's point of differentiation was. I don't remember if you remember back then, but the big thing they were pushing with Halo was how good the enemy AI was, and it was, and it carried them for 2 or 3 games.
Mm.
But the AI in Halo 1, you would have them do appropriate pushes. You would have them, they would push up and they would try and flood you out with like the little guys, and the big guys would shoot you with 3 or 4 shots in the back. You know what I mean? Or you'd have like, and so obviously you'd have them the way they were positioned, where they set up and stuff like that. But you had to think on your feet, right? And so it was that was what the advantage was. And lazy AI is probably one of the first things. I mean, Ozil rants about AI for ages, like in games. So.
Imagine this level. They actually hinted there also about using AI to work out who would win games. I thought that's an interesting one.
I mean, Gabe,
this is advanced footy tipping.
Dota's got that already. If you're playing a Dota game, and it's not perfect, but certain heroes will be overrepresented. But if you play certain heroes and it's at a certain point in the game, you can check the win probability. If you're spectating it, you can check win probability, and it'll say, well, it's probably 67% chance they win. Or like, I mean, I've seen games that have been 98% chances, and then they've done something dumb and they've thrown, and then the other team's won, right? So it's never 100%, but it's always like 99 to 0.
Yeah, but it's like doing with poker when they go, there's such and such percent chance. on based on the cards they have. Sort of
Yeah, yeah,
way.
yeah. It's a 2% chance to win, and then they get the perfect flop. You know
But
what I
the
mean?
idea is it's trained on data, so it should because all AI people don't get all AI really is probability and a lot of
Yeah.
statistics, right? Everyone sort of likes to think it's something special, but it's not. We're
Some
getting
sentient, like, ghost in the
we're
machine
over
kind of
40
thing.
minutes. So I won't go in. I won't go on a rant on AI. We'll do another one
Yeah.
hour podcast. So I won't do that. Now another thing they demoed. I'll just be really quick on this one. They demoed making mini games, and then some guy went, "Make me a maze. Make it harder." He said, "Make it epic."
Ugh.
It's like, oh, all right.
Why would you use the name of a competitor? Like, that seems dumb.
Oh, actually, I don't know if he meant
Yeah.
epic. Oh, okay. Well, maybe he didn't think. It's entirely possible. But apparently that was only advanced enough to make mini games, so you can
Yeah.
make it, and it's probably trained to make mazes. And the last one, and this is one I actually really do like
Mm.
as an implementation, and based on ChatGPT, more believable characters like ecosystems of NPCs.
Right.
So when you have when you do play like Fable or
Yeah.
say a Molyneux game, and you've got these.
Don't give him ideas. Don't give him ideas.
Hang on one sec. There we go.
As
I
soon as he
said the
says his
word in
name,
my
yeah,
throat.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Just
but
seized up.
I never hated him. But anyway, so basically the idea that NPCs in the games, and I think this has a lot of promise, will have more interesting things to say than someone take a sweet roll or I got shot in the memes are
Do you
going to
remember? Do you
suffer.
remember the Assassin's Creed 1? It's like, I hope my son grows up to be like you. I hope my son grows up to be like you. I hope my son grows up to be like you. It was like, it
I
was
was,
literally the same line said by 4 people. I mean, if you're gonna do
assuming.
that, you just have them say slightly different lines. You know what I
Well,
mean?
this is where if they're going to do AI with NPCs, I
Yeah,
think there is having done a fair bit of playing around with ChatGPT, especially for my work there. I think there's a real possibility there to make
yeah.
an elaborate sort of game you're in purely based on just the better conversations.
Mm.
And if you're in a Skyrim style game or a Starfield or something like that, and you can actually have a conversation with somebody that is more, doesn't have just five pre-canned
Filtered,
things.
yeah, yeah.
I do hope they do like Mass Effect and make sure that every character has a smart ass
The the
response
the,
at
the,
every
big, the big
point
thing
because
that
I
always
like that
annoyed me
one.
about Mass Effect and stuff was, and then this is not a problem that AI is going to fix, but it's always been like, oh yeah, well I wouldn't do that anyway, and it's like, well and so that tone sets an idea of I'm being antagonistic, but then they'll say it's like, oh, I don't think I'd really like to do that, and it's like, that's not what I picked. I picked the fuck you option, and it wasn't really a fuck you option. It was a polite declination, and I'm like, that's not the same fucking thing as like, that's a dumb idea. You're an idiot.
The fuck you option.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, look, I think EA's comment about making more believable NPC characters and social ecosystems they called it. That could be interesting.
Didn't the writers in Hollywood just go on strike for this exact reason?
Well, I'm trying to look at positives here. Now, it's
Okay.
the downside is they're sacking everyone left, right, and centre. So, and then they got this problem at some point: who buys our games if nobody's got any money? But I don't think they care. At this point in time, like I said with the numbers before, like they could pay on what they spent on Microsoft to spend on AI. So if that's not EA, I'm jumping to another company. $13 billion. That is actually 10,000 artists at $100,000 a year or thereabouts for one decade.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money, and that's what they've spent so far. They're desperate not to pay anybody. But as a gamer, some of those things that EA talked about, I think if you're a dev, I think if you're a small dev, being able to just dictate and have
Yeah.
it at least start the levels would be cool.
Like I say, I think that's where a Unity or an Epic could introduce that as an idea. But the problem is, it's the indies who are going to cop it, who are also A, usually the purists, and B, more likely to cop it as a result of things, because they'll be like, you stole from my art, blah 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 blah. And
Well, the artists are just having their stuff just absolutely
yeah,
like flogged right
yeah,
now. So this is the biggest, actually, because I mean the downside is that AI right now is the largest robbery that's ever happened in
yeah,
history
yeah.
because
It's IP theft without the IP. Like, yeah,
every creative is having to work, and all the coders as well. I mean, Microsoft's training their I can't remember what it's called on the developer stuff.
yeah,
I've had a blank, but anyway, basically you start typing a few bits of code, and it'll suggest the next few lines of code. Now that's
yeah.
been trained on
GitHub,
GitHub,
yeah,
right? Now, hopefully, I trust everyone that's put code on GitHub because
yeah, yeah.
GitHub can be, what's it
The Wild
called?
West, yeah.
Nah, what's the thing Facebook owns? It's the photos.
Meta, no,
No, the thing where you post photos and anyway,
Instagram.
Instagram, yeah, so it's Instagram for programmers.
Yeah, right.
So it's getting late on the podcast. So I'm bidening, right? But
Sunsetting.
sunset. That's a thing I heard about that. I thought, yeah, I do that. But anyway, so what was I talking about? I legit forgot. So anyway, I think so. AI is a giant theft at the moment, and it's basically just. But yeah, they're taking all the creators' work. But I think there are some upsides for gamers in there as far as better AI on the other side, which people have wanted if you're in a single player game, assuming EA actually changes their attitude towards single player games, and more believable NPCs and a better ecosystem playing.
So I'll just pay devs to write them properly.
And I need to wrap up and have a nap.
Yeah, he's at that point now. Yeah.
Sleepy Jerry.
If I keep staying it, I'm gonna get shot at, mate. He's at 2 now.
People who keep shooting at me.
Yeah. They can't hit me. I'm too fast. Faster than a bullet.
I'm
They
afraid.
call me Fast Trump. Yeah.
I'm afraid to answer my pager.
Yeah. Yeah, well, no, he's all right.
I shouldn't joke about that. Sorry.
But anyway,
apologies, anyone on that.
on that note,
that's a bad joke.
I'll be in Tokyo Game Show next week, so we may have to postpone the podcast for a week. But if not, or maybe we'll record one after TGS. What do you reckon?
I take ages to upload them anyway.
Yeah, okay. And then I'll be back next week for the week before PAX, and then it is PAX.
You can talk about PAX on the next podcast.
I can buy your glitch tickets now. They're going fast. We've already. Between you and the fence post, we've already sold half.
Cool.
Yeah, so we're about 50% through.
I'm too old to go to one of them, but they look really cool.
Yeah, well, obviously,
if I went, I'd just look like a pedo.
Yeah, well,
they do look
try
cool.
and weed that crowd out.
I'll put on a furry suit so everyone goes, "Hey, that's not."
But if obviously what you want to come along, it's on the 12th on the Saturday night. We're currently debating whether we do another one. But at the moment, that's
on the 12th of
October.
12th of October. Yep.
And don't forget, Big Games Night Out on the Thursday before PAX in Fed Square.
What's Big Night Games Night Out?
So Acme, it's at Fed Square. It's at the Edge, the Deacon Edge there in Fed Square.
Oh, cool.
Not Deacon Edge, it's just the Edge now.
And what do you do?
We are doing a giant video game exhibition, similar to what we used to do for Tech Games Fest or CGB.
Oh, I remember those. They're cool.
We're doing it on Wednesday as well.
So good for if you're got little kids.
Yeah, for everybody. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Fed Square.
Yes, I am going to make them milk cows. That's always a secret. I'm like, have I told you that one? No, it's all right. We'll worry about it later. And so
that is a mystery.
Yeah.
Turn up. Got my gloves.
But yeah, no, it's always good fun. And yeah, on that note, I reckon we're about done. NewGamePlus.tv, New Game Plus TV, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, which is probably where you're listening to this. Thank you for everyone who's listening. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and give us your comments. We may or may not listen to them, but we'll try our best. And we'll see you next time.
How did I get here?